give a shit, honestly. All right, so there we go. We're live now. We got this picture up. We'll actually talk about story time with Sneaky, and then we'll get into the fan fiction and why everything sucks and why it's never going to get better. So, this is a story of 2 parts, and then there's a tacked-on story as the cherry on the shit cake. So, yesterday, I was asked to attend to an emergency computer setup. It was an emergency not because it was an emergency. It was an emergency because the person it was for was the CEO of the company.
Okay, yeah, that's important.
Yep.
I can already tell how this is gonna go.
This setup was not taking place at a place of business. I had to set his computer up at his beach house. Okay.
Yeah. Man's the CEO. He can work in his beach house.
I know. But here's where it starts to get a little bit fucking complicated. So I contact them. I go, okay, so this computer, where is it? And they go, oh, well, it's at HQ. You got to bring it over to him. I was like, all right, great, fantastic. I drive over to HQ. I go to inventory. I'm like, hey, inventory, what's up? And they're like, why are you here? I'm like, well, I was told you had a computer for me. They're like,
they did not.
No, we don't.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, that's fantastic. Okay.
I was gonna.
So they're putting around trying to find this computer when the guy who's setting up the computer for this task comes over to me and goes, what are you doing here? I go, I got told to come to HQ to pick up your computer for this guy. And he goes, oh, well, actually, we shipped it to him already. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I sent the on-site team the notes and the link to the UPS tracking. They should know that. And I was like, well, that's not what they told me. And he was like, okay, well, it's going to show up by 12 o'clock. I was like, it's currently 9. And he's like, yes, it is. Okay, well, I guess I'll just start driving there, huh? So I do. It was an hour and 30-minute drive. I get there. I'll skip to the parts where we talk about the computer. And so I get there, and we get the computer unboxed. It's a tower. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, tower. All right, can do. So his assistant comes into the room and goes, hey, so yeah, by the way, this old computer we're replacing, we need the data on it still. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a way to put that data anywhere else. And I don't know what data I need to move. Because the guy isn't there yet. They wanted me to get the whole thing set up before he shows up. So they didn't tell me any of that information. So what I was told when I took on the task is that I was just going to bring the computer there, put all the shit into it, and leave. So I get there, I have the computer, I can't put anything into it, because now I gotta dismantle the fucker and get the 2 hard drives out of the old computer to slap into the new computer, which, by the way, they didn't tell me there was 2 hard drives, and guess what the new computer didn't come with? Fucking SATA cables. That's right, thank you. And so...
Why did it not have...
Because it was using NVMe. So it had 2 SATA ports, but no SATA cables. So I'm like, well, fuck, shit, fuck. And so I'm looking around local database of computer stores, and there is a whole total of 1. And I called them. I'm like, hey, please tell me you have SATA cables. And they're like, well, we don't sell those. It's like, okay. Can I have one? Oh yeah, sure. Here, we got one for you. It's only like 6 inches long. Do you think that'll work? I'm like, I just need something. They're like, okay, well, come over and pick it up. I was like, oh, wait, great, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I do, and they hand it to me. And I get, I bring it back. I'm like, okay. So I was able to rip one SATA cable out of the old computer.
Yeah, I assumed you should be able to.
Well, you see, Dell had this whole thing with their pre-made computers.
Oh, bro, I fucking hate Dell.
Where they decided in their infinite wisdom that you don't need to take the other side of the case off of a computer. And that they were going to weld that computer case shut.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they do that.
That's Dell.
And so they also, in their infinite wisdom, decided, hey, all those cables that are removable, we're going to fucking strap them to the other side of the motherboard.
Yep.
So all those SATA cables that were inside that computer, I couldn't fucking recover. Except for one cable that I was able to tug away from the rest. So I had my two SATA cables. I plugged those fuckers in. I get those hard drives settled. I get the computer all back together. I start plugging in peripherals. And then I get to the monitors. So the new computer was a Windows 10. It had DP slots.
Oh no.
The old computer was a Windows 7. It had VGA slots.
Because fuck you, that's why.
And so I'm now there with my thumb up my ass going, well, fuck, what do I do? Alright, I guess I'll buy some fucking converters now. And I look down, the closest location that sells converters is a 2-hour round trip.
Getting your fucking money's worth out of the gas dispensing for that one today.
So, yeah, you're right. So, small hitch. I was portioned a timetable for multiple on-sites that day because everyone had assumed that the person who put the task in filled out the task correctly with all of the information I needed. And so when it came time to assigning me longer hours for that task or assigning me another task, they assigned me another task. They're like, well, the person only put in for 1.5 hours, and the description of what needs to be done by the guy is just plug shit in and move on. So that sounds about right for the budget they required. We'll give you another task. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do that. And then guess what wasn't done? Any fucking research apparently into what cables the monitors would use, what cables the new computer would accept, what cables were currently on premise. No fucking research was apparently done. No due diligence was done at all. They just sent him a new fucking computer and then were like, oh, whoopsie, I guess nothing fucking works.
Yeah, that tracks.
Oopsie whoopsie, we made a little upsie whoopsie.
So I contact the on-site squad and I go, hey, look, listen, it's a fantastic day so far. So small little oopsie doopsie, I have to leave now. And they're like, what do you mean? This is the CEO. I'm like, that's great and all, but we have another client that I'm supposed to go to that I am now an hour late for, and the fastest I can get the equipment that is required to finish this on-site task is 2 more hours. And if I don't show up to the next on-site, they're dropping us as a service provider.
Was it just like an, oh, or were they like, no?
Yes, it suddenly became a, oh. go. I'm like, yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
I was
It's
about to say-
amazing that your
I mean, at least they
amazing
weren't
that you-
unreasonable.
your fucking system is somehow less lenient than a fucking bank.
Yeah. Well, so it gets it. Well, no, to be fair, though, the client that was going to drop us is going to legitimately drop us for actually legitimate reasons because apparently there's a lot of people not doing their due diligence these days and have been absolutely
Perish the
dropping the
thought.
ball hardcore, repetitively for weeks straight when it comes to them.
Perish the thought.
Yeah, I don't understand how I am the only fucking competent person on this galaxy.
Are you guys hiring?
Yes, we're always hiring. There's a reason why, too. But anyway, so yeah, I have to tell the assistant, I'm like, look, we need these converters. It's going to be a 2-hour round trip. I have to leave to my other on-sites. I can't spend more time on this. And they're like, okay, well, it needs to be done. I'm like, well, you know, it's kind of not my problem.
Yeah, you're right. It does need to be done. Here's the contact info of my coworkers who didn't do their job like they were supposed to and wasted all their time.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. And so, I was fucking unloading, by the way, on the on-site team. I was quite literally just fucking belt-fed, just unloading on the on-site team. I was not happy at all. And so anyway, I do end up going to that second on-site, and they were very understanding about the hour-and-a-half lateness. And we got everything fixed up and squared away for them. So that worked out.
mean,
So then this
look at the
morning
positives.
happens.
Oh no, I was about to say. I do want to say one thing. Like,
But wait, there's more.
I know, but can we just take a moment to appreciate the reasonable human beings that you dealt with? Like, yes, fuck the person who didn't do the right research for the on-site, but the people who were like, this is the CEO, okay, but I'm an hour late. Followed by the people who were like, you're an hour late, but we understand that other people's incompetence is not your fault.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I did appreciate that. I mean, it doesn't hurt that I'm very personable when I want to be. But it is. So that brings us to part 2, which was today. So I get the converters, get down there again, early crack of the morning. I got everything plugged in. Yeah, I got everything plugged in. Only one monitor's working. Oh, by the way, the ISP is down. They've been down for a couple days now. The surely will come back up in time for you guys to set this computer up, right? It's like, well, wow, that could have been great fucking information to have known, like, any time in the past week. But anyway, the ISP does, in fact, come online around the time when it's time to do the digital setup and get all that stuff squared away. But, so it turns out that Intel, in their infinite fucking wisdom of shipping computers out to people, has, by default, what is called the Intel Arc control panel installed on people's computers now.
Oh, more bloatware.
Yes, more bloatware. And as far as I can tell, the only thing this control panel actually does is fuck your shit up.
Sounds about right.
Because changing the Windows settings doesn't change the control panel settings.
Wait.
It overrides your Windows settings. So if you don't know this is installed on your computer, and you're trying to figure out why only one of 2 monitors is working...
Wait, no, hang on a second.
Because for some reason, by default, Intel, in their infinite fucking wisdom, decided that you only need 1 monitor. And they have, by default, all additional monitors disabled.
It doesn't auto detect and, auto split screen.
No. It auto detects and then disables it.
Oh,
So it
because-
goes,
that's
there's a
fine.
second monitor here. Fuck you.
Yes.
Oh,
And we only found this out because in the process of checking to see if the port was broken, we found out the second monitor works just fine no matter what port it's plugged into until the first monitor is plugged in. And then only the first monitor works. And we're sitting there going, what in the actual fuck? And so we're searching and we're like, all right, fine, we're just going to update the drivers. So I download Intel Driver Assist and I type the words into the start menu, Intel. And I'm looking at this and I go, on the phone, what the fuck is Intel Arc Assist? Control panel. And he goes, what the hell is that? I'm like, I'm going to click on it and see what's going on. And it pops up and it's like, first screen enabled, second screen disabled. Would you like to turn second screen on? Yes.
yes.
Yes, I would.
I fucking would, thank you.
But yeah, I was not a happy camper. So that's 6 hours of driving for something that did not need anywhere near that amount of driving. If someone just fucking asked, because again, this was spearheaded because apparently there was already a text sent out the previous week to this location to look at this device, not the new device, the old device, and he said, "Oh, needs to be a new computer. It's Windows 7. The old hardware won't support Windows 10. We need to send this guy a new computer." But at no point in time did anyone record what fucking port configurations they were using for the monitor cables. At no point in time did the information that there was 2 hard drives that needed to be transferred to the new computer be communicated to anyone. And that pales into comparison about what happens next.
Oh, good, it gets worse.
So I'm driving home.
It gets worse.
Of course it gets worse. So I'm driving home. I'm painting this picture for you. I'm fucking tired. I have resorted to smoking to keep myself awake.
You really should resort to something less damaging like Monster
Yeah.
Energy.
I have already taken 2. When I say I resorted to smoking, I didn't mean as a first resort or a second resort. I'm tired as shit. I've been driving for about 7 hours now. I woke up piss early in the morning to do it. I'm not a happy camper. And I get contacted by the on-site team and they go, please, can you go to the HQ and wipe this computer?
Does it have his
Fuck
secret,
it,
like,
fine.
Astolfo trap collection on there that it can't wait until tomorrow to be wiped?
No, I'm like, okay, look, HQ is a 15-minute detour for me. It's gonna cover the extra 2 tasks I need to get finished today. Fine, sure.
It's just the fine, sure, whatever, I'll do it. I'm not happy about it, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm not fucking happy about it, but whatever, I'll do it. So I show up at HQ after a long-ass drive, and I go into inventory, and inventory goes, what are you doing here?
Oh boy.
I take a deep breath. I go, well, I was told I had to wipe a computer, and that you had it for me. And they go, we have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. So I go over to the on-site task, and I pull it open, and I see who my contact is for who's managing this whole thing. I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, did you not tell inventory they need to pull that computer for me to wipe? He goes, well, first off, it doesn't need to be wiped. It just needs to have everything removed from it.
That's...
Also the same thing.
Okay. Unless I'm missing something technological.
No, you're not.
Okay, that I wanted to be very certain that I was not incorrect.
No, you're not.
You're not incorrect. The person
Okay,
that
look.
Sneaky is dealing with is just a fucking moron.
It's not the same thing. A full wipe implies you're reformatting this thing. You're doing a re-image.
Yes, we so
Just-
we have a preset image that we typically wipe user devices to, and he knows that.
Versus going in and removing all the installed crap, which some people won't because they want to leave the data on it.
Yeah, no, they wanted all the data gone. And instead of hand deleting everything and trying to figure out what has what open and what services need to be shut down so I can get rid of it all, I was like, fuck it, I'll just reimage it with one of our reimages. That's the same. If I hand delete everything and me reimaging it with a company image literally has the same end result, why would I waste time hand deleting things?
Because the boss specifically told you to do it this way and not the other way.
Nope,
I've
actually
been told that.
Oh, I know you've been told that. I'm just saying that I wasn't told that in this instance.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was specifically asked to do a user wipe, which is quite literally a company reimage. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, that's there's a lot to unpack in the statement you just sent me. And then he goes, also, it's not my job to let inventory know to pull it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, as the task owner, it is in fact your McFucking job. So then I go, look,
God.
I'll contact inventory for you, and they're gonna tell me to tell you to contact them so they can pull the device for me. But I'll
How's about
do
we
it
do
for
this
you.
live, by the way?
We are doing it live.
Oh, yeah.
No, I meant you calling inventory.
No, I just walk over to inventory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was literally already there. So I walked back into inventory. I was like, "Hey, look, can you just pull the computer from me?" And they look at me and they're
It
like,
turns out it's remarkably easy to do that when you're literally just there.
"Yeah." So they look at me and they're like, "Yeah, we'll just pull the computer for you. We'll send him a message though about how he needs to fucking tell us, you know, beforehand, because now I'm like 20 minutes into this task. Nothing's getting done so far. We don't even have the computer pulled out of inventory yet."
Because this fucker didn't take 5 minutes to let them know to pull it.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
much.
so she's, tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah. That computer's not in the inventory.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'm like, what do you mean it's not in inventory? She's like, I have the inventory sheet for them right here, and that computer's not listed. I'm like, it's like an at all, or is like it's not with us? And she's like, oh, it's not with us.
Okay. That's,
Okay.
it's not as bad as it could be.
So I was asked to divert my drive home to wipe a computer that hasn't been pulled and couldn't have been pulled because it never existed in the inventory to be pulled from, because it was never returned to us, because the person in charge of all of that never fucking bothered to get the computer from the client.
This could have been avoided if the task owner had done their fucking job and asked them to pull the computer ahead of time.
Yeah. It could have.
In fact, I
Really fucking could have.
would have just sent this to a higher up, like, hey, yo, so, thanks for the free money.
So anyway, I was
Here's
like,
why you
all
get
right,
the free money."
great. So, that's great and all. That's fantastic. I'm leaving. The inventory lady looks at me and goes, yeah, that's fair. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
As well you should be.
So as I'm driving home, the back and forth conversation starts in the discussions. about this task. Inventory pings the task owner, goes, hey, you fucked up a lot. By the way, we don't have the computer here. He goes, well, no, the computer's definitely there. And they're like, well, I'm looking at the sheet right now. No, it's not. And he's like, well, the other guy said it was. And then the other guy comes in and he goes, well, I have this delivery sheet here saying we did get that computer. And then he's saying to Inventory, who picked up that delivery. Inventory then responds with, no, that's for a different computer. We have that one in the inventory. That's not the one you requested to pull. And I'm just like, holy fucking shit.
Listen, nothing is more fun than as someone who works with inventory, when someone says, we have X. We do not have X. We were told X was here. You were not told that.
I don't know who told you that, but they're fucking wrong. But yeah. So that was a thing that occurred. Yeah. So that was the shit cherry on top of the shit cake of me just absolutely not. And it's not even like this is not even the first time this has happened. This is like the sixth on-site in the recent week I've been sent to, where I was given a fifth of the information I should have had. It's just I'm fucking done, man. I'm fucking done. Anyway, let's talk about why fiction is going to continue getting worse and will never get better.
Please no.
Oh
It's
no, you
fine.
pulled up that. Why did you pull up this thread? I don't want to see this thread again.
It's so depressing.
So I'm going to condense this giant paragraph of text down into something more transmissible. Kids are little shits. They keep taking their phones out instead of trying to learn. They keep using their phones all the time, anytime. They use every excuse possible to get back to using their phone. They don't do clubs. They don't do extracurricular activities. They don't do anything. They don't even have dreams or aspirations beyond the YouTubes or the TikToks. They're way behind in developing creative thought. Writing a short story for them is like climbing Mount Everest. Now, to be fair, it was also like that for me, but it wasn't because I couldn't make a short story. It's because I'm just really, really, really bad at actually putting the words onto a page. I have like a fucking full-length novel in my head. They asked me for a short story. Completely separate issue, though. Because, as we've seen with fanfiction, they don't have a full-length novel in their head. They have 2 sentences. Maybe.
No, they have 2 sentences of plot, 5 sentences of horny.
No, they have 2 sentences of plot, vague slapping sounds for horny, and 4 movie quotes.
Sounds accurate.
Because as Sign, I'm certainly sure, is a connoisseur at this point of the QQ sex paraphernalia, I'm sure he can tell you that a majority of the stories he's seen with sex in it do not do the sex correctly, or even remotely.
Now, I have to add, do we mean that in terms of they don't understand anatomy?
Yes.
That too.
Or do we mean that in terms of we don't care, like they physically have never seen people interact?
They have, yes, also that, yes. Both of them. They don't know how people actually are people, and they also don't understand what a penis or vagina is.
They might vaguely know what it looks like from looking at porn, but the actual descriptors elude them.
Naruto takes out his fat soda can and slaps it right onto her vagine, causing her to explode into cummies.
That's not a new thing, man. That is not new. In fact, women writers are especially bad about the
Women
whole-
writers are the fucking worst when it comes to men, period. They don't understand a single thing about guys, and it is the most painfully obvious thing I have ever seen in my life. Like, more than me being able to spot when a guy hasn't had sex and he's writing about it, I am able to spot a woman writer the second they have a male character in their story.
Now, to be fair, some of them can actually get a male character right. It's just exceedingly rare.
Oh, yeah, certainly, of course. There is exceptions to the rule. But they're exceptions to the rule. Some of the things I have seen women describe men do, both sexually and not, I'm just like, I have never even heard of a guy think that, let alone do it.
What
The
is it
thing
like?
that's most baffling to me is that, like, they don't understand what the hell a refractory period is.
Oh, yeah,
To be
that's
fair,
well, that's
it does work both
hentai
ways, probably.
verse is just hentai verse. I mean, I don't know what
And
you.
most people just write that out because it's inconvenient, or they specifically go out of their way to go, okay, well,
Using
what
his
we-
chakra, he
Time for you.
regenerates.
yeah, exactly, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, I have seen that, but like,
Yeah.
it's like, I get it's inconvenient to your fantasy, but I'm like, this is a real concern. Like,
Well, okay, if you have an in-universe explanation for it, like
yeah,
Well,
sure.
no.
No,
See,
if you have an in-universe explanation for
yeah.
it, sure. Write it off once and then never mention it again. But, when you have the normal guy who's going for 3 hours, like, who are you trying to kid here?
Yeah, so we all know only one man can do that, and his name is Trios.
Trios is not human, and we both know
He's
that.
fucking not human at all, no. He's a fucking lizard, man. But, no, it is, like, so you wanted an example, no. So I was reading a My Hero Academia story
Oh, no.
on AO3. And the reason why I even bothered trying in this instance was because it was, what if Izuku awakened as like a 5-year-old with a quirk that was basically just an XP of Leviathan from Worm?
That is incredibly dumb.
that's a bad idea.
And I mean a full XP. Like, when his quirk awakened, he turned into a multi-story monster and everyone within a mile of him exploded.
Holy fuck!
Yeah. And then, he goes to, like, he eventually gets beaten down because he still doesn't know what he's doing. And so, All Might beats him down and gets through to him because he's All Might. And, he, like, turns back into Izuku and, he gets convinced to go to the penitentiary to get reformed and be trained how to use his quirk and yada, yada, yada. He goes into the hero school trying to be a hero. And he's really terrified of everyone attributing his water control powers and his enhanced strength and toughness to the same monster that killed like 10,000 people in 1 hour, 12 years ago. And that fic, yeah. It was a good fic, don't get me wrong. For like the first like good while, it was like all right. And then it got to the tournament arc. And the author revealed their power level as a female fan and decided that actually Izuku and all of the guys were actually horny for each other the whole time, because why else would guys be friends with guys?
Yes, the old male friendships don't actually exist.
Yes, this is worse. Yeah, and like, I fucking immediately slammed the story closed. Like the Izuku was having like a panic moment because there was about to be the combat rounds, and he had to show off his powers in front of everyone. And they had Spiky Boy, red hair guy, Red Riot. If that means anything to you guys.
I know of
Yeah,
the
you got his
existence
hero
of the
name, right?
character.
Kirishima, yeah.
Eijiro, yeah.
They had him like put his hand on Izuku's shoulder, and he's like, "Don't worry, man. We got this. You know, we're all in this together. No matter what happens, we're all gonna
That
support
in and of
you."
itself is very much like Kirishima.
And they both
We've
started blushing at the close contact, and Kirishima brought Izuku closer, and then they kissed, and I was just like, what the fucking shit? And the author's just like, and the unrestrained sexual tension in the air as the rest of the guys looked like they wanted to do that to Izuku too. I'm like,
What the fuck?
what the fuck? And yeah, and the author straight shit said, effectively, paraquoting here, that there is no reason for guys to be friends with another guy unless they want to fuck them.
I'm sorry, we can never be friends. Gonna have to discontinue that friendship, according to this author.
Yep.
And
friendships are now
Sneaky,
over.
it's been nice knowing you. Friendship over.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, and I'm just like, what the actual fuck? Yeah. Barely for Oak words knew them. Yeah, yeah, like, the author had spent almost no time promoting the bromance, as they called it, before this moment. Like, he stuttered some sentences around them, and they, like, said good job after the hero training course, where they had the heroes versus villains thing. And, like, that's it. And then suddenly it's like, actually, they all want to fuck each other. It's like, okay. Alright, author. If that's how you view the world, horny woman.
Female author moment.
Indeed. So anyway, back to the depressing news that my fanfiction podcast will go on forever. Creating original characters, dialogue, and adventures is unfamiliar to them. They never took toys on great adventures, they didn't pick up a stick to have a sword fight. Their parents parked them in front of a screen to keep them quiet and controllable. It worked then, but they struggle now with creativity and initiative. My sister teaches kindergarten. She sees students lagging behind in symbolic play. Yep. I see them over symbolic play.
This is some fucking boomer tier shit that you're saying. I just want to point that out.
No, it's not at all, dude. Symbolic play is shit where you and your friends, you're like, oh, I found this pine cone, it's a grenade. And this stick is a gun.
Using your imagination.
And I'm the cop, and you're the robber, and I have to tag you with one of these, and then that means I got you. And then you have to pretend to be arrested because I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy today. Like that's symbolic play. Or like you fucking take those building blocks, those giant building blocks when you're in kindergarten, and you build like a box and you imagine it as like a fucking castle, and then you're the monster and you come in and bash the blocks away. That's symbolic play. Because you're imagining these, grandiose scenarios.
Yeah, we used to call it using your imagination.
I mean, it even went as far as, like, you're sitting in the car of your parents, and you're looking out the window, and you're tracing with your eyes, like, an imaginary ball or a line or some shit, as
or
it
like
follows, whatever. And it follows the ground, and it jumps over the driveways and whatever, right? That's symbolic play. Yeah, and yes, the more layman's term is using your imagination, but The problem is you can't say using your imagination, because using your imagination also applies to fan fiction of already created concepts. What I would love to see is in MHA is someone with a broken power just saying, fuck you, government come and stop me, leaving behind a plethora of dead politicians. Rather than another retread of canon with new powers. Well, see, the thing is that is called creativity, and if you are a fan of MHA, you don't have any.
You know, what makes me sad is MHA started out good. Like, I like it. I still kind of like it. Like, there's potential in the story, but...
It's like every other story, the fucking author forgot how to write as soon as something happened.
Yeah. Well, more the problem is, in MHA, it started with the premise of quirks are biological, and there's a biological explanation as to how the quirks work, and you know, they kind of sort of incorporated that shit. Like, this guy just has a fucking big ass tail, it affects his balance, he can do shit with it, yada yada. Or, you know, this guy, he shoots tape from his elbows, however, if he shoots too much tape, that draws too much water to create the sticky residue from him, and he gets dehydrated. You know, it's like biological action, biological reaction. You know, loosely tied, admittedly, but it's there.
And then he changed it.
And then he was like, oh, but the villain of the story is actually some guy who can steal your DNA out of your DNA and give himself your DNA and then selectively turn on and off that DNA.
Here's the thing. If it required him to spend, like, a certain... Right? If he had to, like... Right? Ironically enough, it would have been great if Stain had been the original concept for All for One, right? He has to cut you and get your blood.
Well, not even that. I would say more like maybe it's like if you want to really be like, oh, you're powerless now and you have to use the power of friendship to beat the bad guys sort of shit. Because they always fucking pull that shit in Japanese shows, you know? If you really wanted to pull that shit, it's super fucking easy. Make it some sort of like acclimatizing time refractory period, effectively, right? Where like the villain can steal your quirk, but like your time on using the quirk winds down and his time on his ability to use the quirk, you know, goes up, right?
Yeah. There's a lot you could have done to make it.
But no, it's like he can just look at you and be like, oh, your quirk is mine now, and I can instantly use it with no repercussions. It's like, what the fuck?
What are you talking about?
All for One.
Also, it's mine forever, and you will never have it again. What?
Yeah, it's just like, wait, what the fuck? What? Huh?
Because quirks aren't genetic, they're energy.
Author should have just said quirks are a mysterious power. Yeah, exactly. They literally should have just gone the Marvel DC route of why do these people have powers?
Well, that guy got it because of drugs, and that guy got it because of radioactive waste, and that guy got it from a spider, and that dude's from the fucking moon, and this is an ancient Egyptian god, and it's whatever the goddamn hell I want it to be.
Exactly, and then you can just pull shit out your ass and, oh, this person can steal people's powers. How does he do that? Narrative causality. It's like, what the fuck?
He touched you and your power go away. Well, how the hell did All Might ever beat him by beating his face in then?
Yeah, I don't know.
The power of punch.
Yeah, it's just like it just got really fucking dumb, and the problem is with making 90% of the population or whatever quirked means you actually have to come up with quirks for 90% plus of your cast.
Yeah,
which is really fucking hard, and believe me, I'm sure DC and Marvel would have been beating that horse dry if they knew how to do that.
I do want to point out the author gave himself a little bit of a saving grace in that he was like, lots of people, 90% of the population has quirks, but like 85% of them suck ass.
Yeah, but you can't also then go on to say, which, by the way, again, I'm quoting the author here, shit like, with each generation, the quirks get stronger
Yeah,
as they
I know.
crossbreed. And it's like, wait.
That makes sense because of the crossbreeding thing.
Yeah, it
because
does
they're
make sense,
collecting.
but that means that you have to have the youngest people have the most ridiculous quirks.
Yeah.
Like,
and yeah, it was effectively 100% because the only person that doesn't actually have a quirk in the whole fucking series is actually Izuku, and he's given one by episode like 2.
yeah. It's just
It's a terrible fucking series. It had a alright beginning that had sort of a semi-motivational story to it that just went out the fucking wall, out the fucking window, just drove down the highway straight into a concrete brick. So like I said, anyone who likes MHA is creatively bankrupt. Anyway. I see them now, in high school over a decade later, wanting to write fan fiction based on someone else's characters because creating their own is hard. Say he has super autism? Yeah, that would be actually kind of a cool thing. Planning Brain Izuku would be decent. I've seen a couple of stories attempt that, and they were okay, actually. Let's talk about employment. We took students on an internship opportunity. Some students were told they would not be asked back because when they were done with a task, they would pull out their phone until one of the adults came over to look for them. Our school is having a basic training class for students to cover things like going to tell your boss you're done with a task and asking what the next task is. Now, to be fair, Sign brought up the quote of like, well, of course I would bring up my phone because I'm done with my work. It's my boss's job to make sure I know what I'm doing. However, I'm going to err on the side of the school here in that they likely told the students that they're supposed to contact, people, and that the students just didn't listen to them.
But I will say, here's the thing. Those kids are already ahead of the game for the real world environment because they know for a fact that the only reward for your work is more work, and if you just...
You're not wrong, but at the same time, it's like they added 1 + 1 and got 5. When the answer was 5, it's just they did the math wrong and they got to the right answer.
Yeah, but like,
they're not
my point...
not doing work because they're like, oh, the more work I don't do, the less work time I have to spend working. They're not doing work because they want to go view TikToks. Which, we'll see why it's not a good thing in a moment, though.
Oh, Jesus.
Students raised with lots of screen time never learn patience or pacing. A student told me that he rushes through all of his chores so he can get back to his cell phone and video games. I wonder how many chores his parents give him because of the hassle it is to pry him away from the screen every time they need him to actually do something. I can speak from experience with some of the some people I know. Extremely difficult. Now, my thing always was as a kid that I would get pissed at my parents and not respond to them when they wanted me to do a chore because I'm in the middle of an online game, and no, Mom, I can't just pause the online game. I am currently playing with 32 other people. I will do it when I'm done. And you know what? The funny story is my dad, a couple months back, was like, turned to me and was like, you know what? I finally get it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you always told me when you were a kid that you can't pause the online game. And I didn't understand why. And now that I started playing Fortnite, I get it. You can't put the controller down. You're in the middle of playing an online game. I'm like, yes. Now you get it. Now you get it. Some of the students said they don't have regularly scheduled chores. Their parents tell them what to do every single time they need them to do them. I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. Like, that's sort of like a mixed bag, because if the parent doesn't want to either do the chore or put up the hassle of trying to teach the kid to do the chore, or they just like doing the chore themselves, or there's 101 reasons as to why there's no scheduled chores. Now, to be fair though, I did have scheduled chores and I had unscheduled chores. When the trash needed to be taken out, I had to go take out the trash whenever the trash needed to be taken out. That is what it is. There's no point in throwing out a half-filled trash bag just because it was 4 o'clock.
Yes.
However,
yeah, I would just say the only time, right? We empty trash once a week at my house, and that's every Tuesday. Unless for whatever reason we've produced a phenomenal amount of trash that week, in which case we will empty it before then.
right. And not only that, who has regular scheduled chores? It's very easy to have regularly scheduled chores. Tuesdays was trash day, Mondays was recyclables day. When you get home from school, you have to take those out to the curb. Fair enough. As a house that relied on wood heating, I was required to put 2 hours into chopping wood every day to make sure we had enough firewood to throw into the furnace to keep the house warm.
And you get that good upper body strength.
Exactly. Having regularly scheduled chores is a completely reasonable and attainable thing to have for your kid. It just really depends on the scenario of your living circumstances. Like, if you say live in a fucking apartment, there's not going to be a lot of regularly scheduled chores you can even create.
I would just say the most you can do is be like, kid, take out the trash and vacuum. That's about it.
And even then, how often do you really need to vacuum an apartment?
It depends on how many people you have in the apartment.
I mean, if you got like a kid, a dog, like 3 people, I guess, yeah, every day. But I mean, fucking hell, you live in an apartment. No one's gonna be super impressed coming into it anyway.
Well, more importantly, like, your carpet is designed to hide 70 years of people not vacuuming.
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, if someone's gonna be
why
impressed,
you don't walk around on bare feet.
Yeah.
If you want to be terrified in your apartment, go ahead, get some really warm soapy water. Just dribble that on the carpet.
Yeah. Well, I actually know that my carpet's clean, and you know why I know my carpet's clean?
You had it shampooed?
No, because they rip the fucker up every time a tenant leaves.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. But yeah, like, that'll terrify you out of walking barefoot around your house, right?
I mean, I still wear socks anyway.
Well, yeah, but that's a comfort decision. You
Yeah.
don't have to.
Yeah. We just do shit when it becomes necessary. Well, that's what I'm saying. No, it really depends on your housing situation, the number of people in your house, and what needs to actually be done. So it's like, oh, well, your parents, you never scheduled your chores. It's like, well, there wasn't a lot of chores to actually schedule. And I mean, especially if one of your parents was a stay-at-home mom, and, she just vacuumed and cleaned the house when everyone was gone. There wasn't a lot of vacuuming and cleaning for you to do after that.
Yeah.
So,
like,
carpeted floors are a nightmare for maintenance? They are. Yeah, they are.
they are, but they do have, advantage. Like,
so, I mean, it's really hard to do the whole scheduled chores thing unless, you need shit like, fucking wood every day. Or, dishes. But who really washes dishes anymore? We got fucking dishwashers do. That's like you pop it in, slap a tap, boom, done. Hour later, take out the dishes. Yeah, sure. Take out the dishes when the dishwasher's done, but again, that's not really a scheduled chore. My brother in Christ.
Here's the thing.
Unless
you're going crazy with your dishes, you should be using.
And I mean, honestly,
doing the dishwasher every other day at the max.
Dishwashers are several grand here. Yeah, well, we're in fucking America, bitch. Anyway, point being, I mean, yes, wash the pot out. You know, maybe your mother cooks dinner. It's soup that night. Wash the pot out, son.
You know what? We cooked some Parmesan chicken. Scrape it out. Give it a quick.
Right.
Throw some soap in. Give it a quick rinse, and then put it in there.
Yeah.
Now, one thing.
Again, that's not scheduled though. You can't really budget around that.
Yeah. Like, when I was young, right? My mother was a stay-at-home mother, so there wasn't a lot of chores for us to do. And my father enjoyed yard work. That's one of the things he does to relax.
Now to be fair, Saturdays was yard work day, and my father's the same way. He likes the yard work. He doesn't want anyone to interrupt his yard work time. But the fact of the matter is the place we were staying at later in my life had a large yard, and his wife was not happy with him taking 10 hours of the day just to do yard work, and wanted the boys, as in the sons, to be outside helping him. Now, of course, that actually only applied to me.
Of course.
And naturally. And of course, my job was to move rocks from one side of the yard to the other and then back.
Yes, we've heard about the rock moving.
And I'll never let her live it down, and my father laughs about it now. And recently, when my little brother was being like, "Oh, what am I supposed to do outside?" I was like, "Well, you can move rocks." And she just fucking looks at me, and I just look at her, fucking smug as shit. My dad's laughing his ass off.
While your brother's confused as all hell.
Oh,
As an example, right? Like, the only time my brother and I did yard work was when my father didn't want to, right? Like, for instance, we had a couple we rented houses for most of my life, and most of those houses had trees. They were old trees. They were big trees. They dropped a lot of sticks.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. So, Dad wants to mow the lawn. Dad doesn't want to pick up the sticks. Right? So the kids get sent out.
Yeah.
Right? Get this right. We had, right, the first time we did it, we had an example stick. Right? Sticks above X size, get them out of here. Throw them in a bag. End of the day, right? But then trying to mow the lawn, now I will say he did try to have me mow the lawn once. That did not happen again because, as I'm sure Sneaky is aware, mowing the lawn is very difficult for Sneaky and I. Not because we can't mow the lawn, but because we can't mow the lawn in a what, Sneaky?
In a straight fucking line.
Yeah.
And it's even better because we also can't see the parts we missed.
Well, okay. I could see the parts I missed after I finished.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. After you finish, when you get off the mow and you look at the lawn, yeah.
Well, we had a standing mower. But yeah, right. It was a case of, right, because I'd be like, yeah, I'm going in rows. I was not going in rows.
Yeah, no.
I was going in vaguely row-shaped directions.
My favorite part will forever be my father realizing how bad my vision was. When he pointed something out to me, not related to yard work. Like, he was we were inside and he pointed something out to me. And I look over, I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Do you not see that right there?" I'm like, "What am I supposed to be seeing?" He's like, the giant gash, and no, not at all. And I walk 10 feet closer to what he's pointing at, and almost face to face with it. Now I'm like, "Oh, yeah, the big old gash right there, yeah. I see that."
Yeah, I think I see it now. Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh, that explains why you could never get the lawn right." I'm like, "Just figuring that out now, are you, eh?" It's a wild ride, let me tell you, of my parents realizing that I never lied to them.
Now, see, I was fortunate in that I got to skip those steps, mostly because my parents, right, I had a medical condition at a young age that required brain surgery.
Oh, I mean, they gave me 5 surgeries when I was a baby for my eye. They were just, the wrong surgeries.
Yes. But here's the thing. Your parents assumed that those surgeries would fix your problem.
Yes.
My parents knew that the surgery would keep me from dying. There was no fixing the damage.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, but it still amuses me, because it's just like, yeah, I never lied to you guys about how bad my eyes were. Oh yeah, I also recently had a little moment where he realized how bad my lungs was.
Well, I mean, was this recently because of what you're currently doing, or is this because of what had been happening?
What do you mean?
Is it because you started smoking, or is it because
Oh
of
no,
something
my
else?
lungs have improved since I started smoking.
That's
I don't believe you.
quite literally not possible.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can fucking ask Max, dude, about how bad I sounded back in the day. It was bad. But I've just been improving ever since. Obviously I only started smoking like in the past year, but I actually haven't had a major lung issue since I started smoking, which usually was a once a month thing before then.
I understand what you're saying, but I literally can't believe it.
Yeah, well, welcome to my existence. No, because back before I smoked, when I had to do all the lumber loading during the winter, because no one else in the house wanted to do it, and my stepmom decided that I was only kidding about having lung issues, and that because I'm a fatso, I need to go outside and do some hard work to learn myself some discipline. So she had me loading lumber during the winter with like a foot of snow on the ground. Yeah. And she had, I did that for a couple hours every day. And I would come up the stairs because I had to climb multiple decks to get to places where I need to put the lumber. Wheezing my fucking lungs out and choking on my spit and shit, and just from going up one flight. And
Sounds like you're just fat and out of shape, bro.
Yeah, you would say that, except that's been a thing since before I got fat. It's why it's really hard for me to work out. And like she would come out fucking yelling at me for it. And then, recently one day when I went over to his house to smoke with him, and I helped out with some yard chores before that, and we sat down, and I'm fucking breathing heavy and coughing, and he just looks at me, he's like, You're actually really choking out just from that little bit you did. I'm like, yeah, it's been like that for over a decade now. And he goes, oh, I always thought you were just exaggerating. Just like, turns out all the shit that I was telling my parents, they thought I was fucking lying to them for literally 2 decades. And turns out I didn't ever. And now that it's too late, they're learning. Now back to the subject, though. The person goes on to say a very reasonable concern. How do you teach initiative to a 17-year-old when you only see them for 50 minutes on a weekday? That's very reasonable. Someone else follows up with, I'm not a teacher, but I do end up seeing a lot of teens online via fandoms, and the way they deal with writing is very sad. Not from the perspective of using someone else's characters, like you said. That's been normal since I was a kid, and now, to be fair, that was normal even back in the days of Star Trek, and shit, that was normal back in the days of fucking Jesus Christ and King Arthur. So, fan fiction is not entirely a new concept. The extreme proliferation of it and ease of access to it, it kind of is.
Always remember
Reminder
Don
that-
Quixote.
Yeah,
Remember, Lancelot was a fucking OC.
they were all OCs. The Lancelot one was just a French OC.
He was a French do not steal OC, and then everyone stole it because the concept was actually pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't an expert writer as a teenager by any means, though I definitely thought I was. Whew, I met quite a number of people like that. But kids nowadays just really seem to struggle to put together a story. Some publish 2 short paragraph stories that are just barely coherent. We've seen plenty of those on here. Some just give up and resort to an AI writing it. We've seen those on here. But there are never over a chapter long, if that. We've seen those on here. I've watched a group of them struggle to read a multi-chapter story, lamenting that it was too long for them to really read. One gave it to their mom and asked her to read it for him and then tell him the highlights. TikTok brain.
No, that's not
No.
TikTok brain. I want to be clear. There were, right, that was a problem back when I was in high school, back when we were in high school. Like, I've got bad news for you, Sneaky. People were going downhill way before TikTok. It's not TikTok brain.
Cliff Notes exist.
I mean, you're not wrong, but people did Cliff Notes because the books they assigned to us in school were beyond fucking boring, and you gotta keep in mind I also lived in a rural area, and no one there wanted to read.
Okay, you're right, but here's the thing. I went to a...
I know, you went to private Christian school, where
And
they taught
people
you
were the
all to be
exact
good
same.
little sinners. I know.
No, that's decidedly not the case. They tried to do the exact opposite.
Well, that didn't work.
I mean, based on what I heard in some of the bathrooms, it definitely didn't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a thing. Like, right? There were kids in my class who just did not want to read, right? And I was like, and they're like, oh, I don't want to read Romeo and Juliet. I find Romeo and Juliet's kind of a boring ass story, and we all know it. Fine. I don't want to read Macbeth because they kept the Old English translation. All right, that's fine. Old English is a pain in the ass. I personally don't mind it, but I understand it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Didn't they ban it because it was literally filled with black magic or something like that?
So,
No.
one of Shakespeare's plays was banned for that. But anyway, keep going.
But yeah, they just didn't want to read.
Yeah.
Like, they just did not care.
That's
It didn't
because
matter what the
reading
book
wasn't
was.
cool, and the parents never instilled in their kids the idea that reading was fun.
And that's the problem.
I mean, if you read, you were a massive nerd.
Yeah, A, if you read, you were a massive nerd, but B, they just didn't. They're like, no, I can't get any enjoyment out of it. Like,
Yeah.
And it made me really sad because, like, there were plenty of, like, guys and girls in my class, right? Really intelligent people, like, even a lot of the jocks, right?
Right.
Really smart guys, right? They went on to become finance majors, right? Like,
To be fair, you don't need to be smart to become a finance major.
no. So I don't mean like I work as a bank teller. I mean managing multi-million-dollar portfolios where they have to do real hard actual math and they're trying to predict the economy using that math.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Right? Not the idiot stuff.
No. Yeah. Only idiots
Right,
are
so
bank
my
tellers.
point being that these were all really intelligent people who absolutely, right? If they'd really wanted to, they'd have had no problem reading the kind of books that you know,
Right,
that you,
right, no, I
me,
get you,
and
yeah.
that we devoured on a regular basis. No trouble at all. But it wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but at the same time, though, I mean, if you look at it these days, I mean, you look at, our generation and what they've turned into, you can clearly see the effects of not really expanding the mind too much on a majority of our generation. But they didn't have the ability to turn to, other shit, so they kind of just got lost in the present. the Zoomer generation is actually in a worse position because they can get lost in the present, but instead they have a handy-dandy supercomputer in their pocket that lets them access the entirety of the internet really fast. And because their entire generation is doing this, they basically are doing now the leet speak of thinking to each other. Like how we used to back in the day shorten paragraphs into sentences using numbers and slang because texting was really fucking hard on a Nokia phone, and you had to press the 3 6 times just to get to one letter. So we invented leet speak, and we did shorthand and a whole bunch of other shit to just get the message across. It's the same way for them because they can only look at their phone for 10 seconds before the teacher catches them. And so what do? They make TikToks that are 10 seconds long. And so they start thinking in 10 seconds. Instead
I
of...
feel like this is the thing that's been happening for a very long
Oh,
time.
it's
Because
definitely...
Vine did exist.
What?
Vine? Do you not remember what Vine was?
My dude, Vine was not our childhood, and if it was your childhood, I hate to break this to you, you're Zoomer.
I'm just saying it existed.
And I'm saying Vine did not exist when we were children.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There is a massive difference.
What existed when we were children, actual children, right? Nobody got a cell phone until 5th grade.
If that. I didn't have one until
I remember it was a big deal
year.
because I remember the first kid who got a cell phone in my class. It was the daughter of a local realtor lady, right? She was the super realtor, right? Every area had the super realtor mom. That was her, and she got her kid a pink Razor.
Right. Yep. The Razor. Yep.
And everybody was like, "Wow, you gave her a cell phone."
Yeah.
Now, of course, it later came out that was because the dad was the dad was a lawyer and the mom was a big ass corporate realtor. So yeah, sometimes they legitimately needed to call their kid because it's like, yeah, I'm not picking you up, dad's picking you up, or hey, we've gotten the help to come get you because neither of us will be here. You're eating dinner alone.
Right, yeah, and I actually got the phone for the same reason. In 8th grade, I got the phone because I started doing theater electrical board stuff. So, lights, sound, camera, action.
Yeah, that's pretty important for needing to do tech in an emergency. Just like hey, so our...
No, I got the phone because I had to let my parents know when we were done so they could pick me up.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
that's all I used the phone for about 3 years. And then my senior year, my mom got me an iPhone because I always read on my iTouch. Yeah, I'm really aging myself here. I always read on my iTouch, and back in the day,
iTouch is not that old. How old is it?
Are you sure?
Boy, have I got bad news for you.
Sure
what year did it come out?
Are you
what
sure
year?
You
I don't know if I want to know. Tell me.
All right, so the iTouch came out. Wait, what the fuck? No, it did not come out in 2022.
No, it did not. Unless they are renaming it because they don't know what the fuck to do anymore.
Who's casting Curse of Ages?
Yes, the iTouch, originally introduced in 2007. That was 16 years ago, Nose.
I mean, honestly, I still remember having an iPhone shuffle because my dogs were...
Wait, what? iPhone shuffle?
The fucking iPod shuffle.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it like the little fucking stick thing.
Yeah, the little
my
fucking
dogs
USB
always wanted to
stick.
go walking around like the 3 blocks that we usually took them around. So I would always be just like plugging it in and just like, all right, time to put on a shuffle. And by that I mean I just put on the one playlist I always listen to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had the shuffle for the same reason. But yeah, I had the iPod Touch, and whenever I was near Wi-Fi for my yes, I was one of the screen kids, but because I read a lot of books, and I mean actual books back then, and I would load multiple web pages up of the next chapters. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
whenever
you
we
used to
passed
do that when
by
you didn't have a Wi-Fi
Yeah.
connection.
So I'd open like 20 tabs.
C8, if you fucking type that again, I will kill you. C8, please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up.
Keep casting the curse of ages on Nose. He doesn't realize he's old yet.
It's him directly.
Attack his sanity. You know, one thing that I thought, right? Because like I remember as a kid, right? I got a Razor in 7th grade. Yeah,
I
7th
had
grade.
a Nokia Flip in 8th, yeah.
It's funny. I didn't use it because like I just didn't text people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I called them. Texting was an annoyance.
Yeah. Well, and like I just think like again, I did when I wanted to hang out with someone, like I would call them, but it's I wasn't like calling them all the time to like chat because why
You
the
were there.
fuck would I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Well, it's
I
not
don't
more-
want to talk to you people.
No, I'm saying no. It's like literally, it's like I'm not calling you all the time to talk because I'm seeing you every day already.
Yeah. Ain't nothing for us to
Oh,
talk
that's a
about.
woman thing.
What?
No, not exclusively, dude.
Texting all the time, 100%.
Oh, yeah, the 1000% social rate. Yeah, yes, that is a yeah. I can say that a lot of my peers that did all the texting, they were all female. Yeah. Halo came out 2 years before I was born.
Stop existing.
Man,
Anyone born after the year the Halo 1 came out doesn't exist. Stop lying.
So you're like 10 years old then.
They aren't people.
They're NPCs.
They didn't
They're-
experience. They didn't experience
They're robots
the joys.
created by the government to keep you from realizing the nuclear disaster.
Yeah.
They're created to prevent you from realizing that Halo is telling the truth, and we're all about
Much
to get,
like the government
flooded.
birds.
Birds aren't real.
But anyway, point being though is that TikTok definitely has 100% shaped the Zoomers generation, my little brother's generation, because when I sit down to talk with him, he can't form whole thoughts. Like he'll say one thing, he'll say who he heard it from, and then he'll offer like a 5-second sound bit about his opinion on it. And I don't mean like I'm calling him. I mean like I am physically at the house, sitting down, talking
And
to him.
he'll just like make a noise.
And he'll be like, oh no, he'll be like, did you see Zelda? Who? I'm like, what?
What?
Yeah, did you see the Zelda? Who? I'm like,
I thought you were about to say
What?
he just then tries to verbally do a vine boom, and I was gonna want to kill myself.
no, he'll just say vineboom.mp3.
I mean,
Which, to be fair,
We literally do the same thing.
yeah.
For
But,
example,
oh,
What's
I
the little
actually
voice
added a
man?
new one to the soundboard today, boys.
oh no, what did you add?
I added this one.
Oh no, I see it.
Nuclear launch detected.
No,
hey, that brings back both joy and fear.
it's both. It's in equal parts.
Nuclear launch detected.
I,
That face when you hear that 15 minutes into a match.
I had the option of getting a higher quality one, but I looked at it and said no. No, it's got to have that just right amount of audio low
It's
quality
gotta have
to it.
just enough toaster.
Yeah, it's got to sound just toaster enough to bring back the memories.
Now, see, here's the thing. It doesn't quite bring back all the memories, because even though I couldn't hear it,
Yeah,
my soul was playing Terran 2.
that is fair. That is fair. Also, I'm really disappointed. I'm probably going to have to make a custom one later on where I overlap this one multiple times, because let's be honest here, that's what you really heard at 15 minutes.
Nuclear launch detected. If we all hit the button at once.
Nuclear launch detected.
That's what
Oh,
you
no.
really heard.
Oh, no.
You're just like, oh, okay. And they like fucking draw a smiley face on your base with nuclear missiles. It's like, okay. Alright. Fair enough. Fair enough. But no, but really, it is... Those 16-year-olds mentioned in the paragraph Sneaky's reading are all born in 2007. People born after the year 2000 don't exist. But I've had conversations with him, and he's not able to form thoughts. Whole, complete, multi-minute, complex thoughts. And I don't mean this as an insult to him, because he's a smart kid. It's just his thoughts are just basically a fucking TikTok collage where he just keeps swiping right after every 10 seconds because the video stopped and just started to repeat again.
Shut up. That is terrifying.
I want nuclear launch detected in the voice of Gura.
Oh, how much do I have to pay Gura to get her to do that? All right. Also, I want to see if we all press nuclear launch.
detected.
Okay, yeah, all at the same time. Let's see what happens.
1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
3.
Nuclear launch detected.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Like
That's
that.
fear.
Yeah.
That's fear.
The fear.
That is fear.
That's the soul pain.
Yup. You're 15 minutes into the match and you hear that.
And you're just like, how in the fuck?
And then the game ends, he's got like 4 bases up, and you're just like, what the actual fuck?
The moment when you ran into someone who knew what the right, because right, you would play with your friends and you'd be having some fun and you'd be thinking you're pretty good, and I'm gonna try some online.
And you just get
And then
fucking
you ran
dumpstered.
into those people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funniest shit ever was, so I originally went by the nickname Son of a Car, because I thought it was really funny, because I knew what Son of a Bitch was, but I was like 5, and I knew I couldn't make that my screen name. So I was like, oh, I'll make it Son of a Car. Ha ha, I'm so clever and witty.
You know, I remember. I don't remember what usernames I used
And
in those times, because
I had
like,
to stop
I've
using it because I got banned in StarCraft at the age of 5.
Why on
Because
earth did you
people
get banned?
reported me for being too good, so they reported me for hacking.
Ah, yes.
And so, because I was dumpstering everyone with a hero called Quake in the StarCraft hero arena, I called my next account Quake Attack. And then I got called Sneaky Devil a year later in 2001 when I started playing Night Elves in Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne, which came out 22 years ago.
Shut up, shut up, shut up.
Silence immediately.
By the way, I'm watching people. I'm watching VTubers play Warcraft 3 for the first time because it came out when they were children and they were too young to play it,
Oh,
and their parents
God.
wouldn't let them. No, it's great. Listen, Lumi is hilariously inept.
Yeah, it's got a lot of strategy behind it. Yeah.
Um,
Sneaky
Is this the
became
same
Sneaky
Lumi
Devil.
that you
Yeah.
introduced me to?
don't know. It's the one that was in Maxor's video.
Sneaky became Sneaky Devil 2 years before I was born. Yes, I did. And yeah, people started calling me a Sneaky Devil, and I thought that was a really clever name, so I switched from Quake Attack to Sneaky Devil. And I've been
See,
using Sneaky Devil since.
I just genuinely do not remember because I've used Atin for such a long time. But I know that
And
I didn't
Mandalore.
start. What?
And Mandalore.
Yes. Oh, you know what? It was Mandalore that was what I used before because I didn't get Atin until, as a young lad, a wee young lad, we had the option, or we had the Republic Commando books come out when we got the actual Mandalorian language.
Right. Yeah. So you were Mandalore before that.
Yeah,
Makes
that was
sense.
usually what I went with, Mandalore. Or, some Star Wars character.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of actually sad, funny, and a little bit scary that I've stuck to a screen name longer than some people have been alive that are currently
I was gonna
watching
say,
the podcast.
If you count sticking with a theme, I've stuck with a theme my entire online career. If you count with a name, oh god, Sneaky. Let's cast the curse of years on me. When did the first Republic Commando book come out?
Ooh, first Republic Commando book. That was probably, I'm gonna say, around 2004.
2004 sounds right, because that's when the game started coming out.
No. It came out a year, maybe two after the game. I think it's going to be more like 2006.
Star Wars Republic Commando novels first released in 2004. Hard Contact. Yeah, I am good at this.
That makes me feel so much worse.
You've got to be kidding me.
But yeah, right. I remember 2000. Yeah, it was 2004.
No, so okay, I found that. I think I know what you were thinking of. You were thinking of Republic Commando Volume 1. The collection.
That was it. Yeah,
that was 2006.
I still have Hard Contact.
Yeah,
I still have Hard Contact in my.
Honestly, it's a guaranteed win for a sci-fi series where you have to fight off aliens in a completely unfavorable scenario to make one of your first novel books have something contact in it.
Yeah.
Harvest First Contact.
But yeah, right, and that's when I switched to Atin, and I specifically remember it because they're like, it's like, oh, what's that mean? It means stubborn, and I was like, it means stubborn, and they are quite set, and I was like, well, that's me. I am quite stubborn, and then the actual character who had the name Atin was a sarcastic prick, and I was like, well, this is just fate.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sneaky Devil because I mean, I just really liked ruining people's days, and I thought that was funny. Even as a young child, I could not be stopped. But anyway, back to this depressing smorgasbord. At a different point, two teens took the same story and edited it to make it shorter and to remove all mentions of sex, and anything they couldn't remove, they replaced with mentions of marriage instead, taking it from a T to G rating.
Oh wow, so they worked
That's
at 4
funny.
Kids.
And ended up having the word count.
Wow, they really are like future 4 Kids translators.
This injures the sign.
To anyone who doesn't know 4 Kids, by the way, because this might have been before a few people's times.
Holy shit, that you're right. That is making me.
Fucking 4 Kids.
Oh god, 4
4
Kids.
4 Kids made a name for themselves by doing dubs,
Really?
but they would do really poorly done dubs.
Not just poorly done dubs, slightly racist dubs.
Also, editing.
Lightly?
Homemade editing.
Oh,
no-
don't
Lightly,
forget.
he says.
nothing we
don't
can
f-
talk about
also-
on Twitch.
Also, don't forget the most important decision that 4Kids ever made. When they decided that no, we can't have lesbians in Sailor Moon. Make them sisters.
Cousins.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, cousins. Make them cousins.
Yes. They were just very affectionate cousins. They're from Alabama, please understand. In general, they are discouraged by their peers from reading weird things, which may or may not have to do with sex, but can also mean any content that isn't pre-approved by those around them. This results in an environment where if they ever see anything they don't like and they experience discomfort from it, they will go to panic and anger and lash out, usually by telling people to kill themselves. The scariest thing about this thread, to me, is knowing how many kids out there are in this sort of environment 24/7. I cannot even imagine what the internet is permanently doing to their brains. Yeah. And we can imagine what the internet is permanently doing to their brains, because we're just going to go into this handy little section called the Ruby section. Switch ratings to all in English. And let's see what the first story here is. Ruby reignited. Team Ruby's third semester is starting up, and unknown to them, Cinder is plotting underneath their noses. Roman Torchwick may be captured, but the true mastermind behind him is still at large. Will Team Ruby be able to stop Cinder from unleashing her diabolical plans? This is a complete rewrite of Ruby, starting at Volume 3, picking up where Volume 2 ends. One chapter, 3,000 words.
Complete rewrite.
Yep, complete rewrite. And it's being written by a person who the most words they've ever written was 27,000 words, and that was in May of 2014, and it took them 5 years to get to that point, and it was an Elsa story of Elsa times hands.
That hurts.
And you know what the story was about? Nothing. The story was about nothing. The plot of the story is Elsa receives a letter and she doesn't know how to respond to the letter. Does she go and visit them instead? Literally nothing. The longest story this individual has written is literally nothing in terms of plot. And they want to launch a Ruby rewrite now. They've never gotten beyond a single chapter on a single one of their stories. They've all ended up calling them one-shots instead. This is peak. This is peak exactly what everything that whole Reddit post was talking about. Is, my idea is, Ruby, again, but, Cinder is gonna be eviler for longer. And her evil plan is, Anyway, so did you guys check out my new story? It's in the Naruto section.
No.
The Naruto section.
It's about Boruto's dad.
Well,
How do you
you're
feel
right.
knowing people are going to grow up with Boruto and not Naruto?
Great, I love it.
Shut up.
Speaking
It's
of shutting
already
up,
happened.
Atin,
We know it.
your name, 1 year younger than me. One.
Yeah. I know
Treasure
the
it.
name is old because I've had it for a long time. That's not doesn't do anything to me. In fact, it's like, wow, I've kept the same consistent online identity for a very long time. In fact, I remember one time I went to play a video game online, and so I go to get my username, and I was like, oh, Atin is taken.
How?
And I said, this is unfortunate. And then I said, wait a minute. They're saying that my email address has already been used. And I remember I specifically said, what bastard took my username?
Me. I am the bastard.
That didn't work then.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
Of course, that didn't work.
It was me.
Actual question.
Yeah.
Where
I'm
the
the-
fuck did the nukes incoming come from?
StarCraft.
Are you
Which one?
StarCraft.
The
StarCraft?
original?
Yes.
StarCraft.
The
yes.
original.
StarCraft.
Hmm.
Listen to
I have
this
to look
noise.
up how old that is. But also,
Nuclear
Knights of the Old
launch
Republic.
detected.
Do you hear
Knights
that
of the
audio
Old
fry?
Republic.
That's what the
Yes.
word was. Audio fry. The audio fry.
Atin. Knights of the Old Republic is 1 month older than me. It is basically
Wow.
my age. Anyway, that
Congratulations
that
on
is-
completely missing the best Star Wars game.
No,
yeah,
you can still play it.
I've never played any of the Knights of the Old
It didn't.
Republics.
I'm sorry, Adam, but it doesn't stand up. Like it's
I think
good.
the remaster would be okay.
Here's the thing. I think if people go in knowing that you're playing a stripped down tabletop, it's not bad. It's manageable.
Yes, yeah, that's fair. It's just it doesn't really. I've tried to go back and replay it multiple times, but it's really hard for me to, because I'll get a little bit into it and I'll just be like, do I really want to do this? Because you gotta keep in mind, both Coder and Republic Commando were made in a time period in where this was like the only game you had.
Yeah,
And-
you got $20. You had $20 from your. By the way, I remember paying $25 for that at Target,
Yeah. Like
and
this
I
was,
remember because it was chore money
Mm,
and a little bit of help from my parents because it was a really cool looking Star Wars game, and I had been really good, and I hadn't asked for anything, and so they made up the difference in sales tax for me.
yeah. Like back in the day, it didn't matter, because you could just keep playing the game, and then you go to school and you come home and you keep playing the game, and you just kind of rinse and repeat until you got old of the game, which was like months from then, usually.
Yeah.
Maybe at least, because that was kind of just your existence. Is like you had like 3 games you could play. You just played the other 2 you only owned, the shit out of them, and so you're kind of like, I just want something new. And games weren't bad back then. There was a fair amount of games that were not bad back then, and you actually had a decent chance of picking up something random and being like, "Oh, this cover looks cool, and it's got a neat name," and it RNGing being good.
Man, I remember walking through Target, like going to Target with my parents was the best thing because I could look at the new get right. I still remember I missed out on Diablo because
Yeah,
my
because the
parents
whole
didn't like the name.
yeah.
They didn't like the name. So that was a big sadness. I also remember because I played Knights of the Republic 1 and I loved it and it was great. And then this was actually fortunate for me, what my parents did here, right? Sneaky, you remember the cover for Coder 2?
Yes.
My mom looked at the cover and said no. Because it was Scion. It was
Yeah.
Darth Scion,
Yeah.
Mr. Weird, Creepy, Crackly Skin.
Yeah.
That now, in fairness to my parents, that ended up being an excellent decision because that game sucks until you get the restored content mod, and even then, it's still got its problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if
You
it is still a pretty good game, and honestly, if you could make kids sit down and play, honestly, it's a great way to get like a 12-year-old to have Psych 101.
Now, not only that, I will say, as I was introduced to the Coder series through 2, and then playing through that and getting to 1, and obviously liking 1 way more.
Well, here's the thing. 1
Um,
is so much better mechanically. The story of 2 is much better, unquestionably.
Yes. Yeah, the story of 2 was pretty interesting.
I feel bad because my first was SWTOR.
Oof.
No, that's fine. Honestly, SWTOR is not bad. The main class stories of SWTOR are fine. They're not bad.
Yeah,
Some of them are
yeah.
even great.
That Jesus Christ, you just unlocked a core memory. That
What?
I'm pretty sure that was the first and only MMO I've ever played.
SWTOR?
Honestly,
The Old Republic. Yeah.
SWTOR is not bad. Listen, if you just
I-
treat it as a single player where sometimes you have to deal with other human beings,
Yeah.
it's fine.
That's what I did.
My
think I
oldest
had,
memory of an MMO I
Fuck.
played was Star Wars Galaxies because I went to Target and I got
Ooh, yeah, let's
and
let's hit each other with that Curse of Ages. Okay, when did you pick up Galaxies?
when it went on sale with the triple, the
Okay,
triple
okay,
Star
so
Wars
you
pack.
okay, so you're an after Lightspeed baby.
Yes, I am.
I first played. So I had a friend. We'll call him Frederico, which is not his name in any capacity or even remotely close to it. His dad worked for EA back before EA became completely
Right, yeah.
soulless.
Yeah.
And so, right, his dad played a lot of video games, and he played a lot of video games, right? Because partly for his dad, it was fun, and it was his job, and
Right.
it was, market research. And so he was a huge Star Wars fan, and I knew him. And he took me to his house one day, and he's like, "There's this really cool Star Wars game where you can be anything." And he sat me down, and I started playing Star Wars Galaxies, and I was completely lost because that game was like Dark Souls. It told you nothing.
That
It told
yeah,
you
that
nothing?
game fucking. So I never actually got into Star Wars Galaxies, and not because it was a bad game, not because it had a subscription fee, not because of anything.
Everything had a subscription fee back in that day.
Yeah.
Well,
I
okay,
was
let me
not
rephrase that.
able to get into Star Wars Galaxies because when I purchased it for my computer,
You couldn't run it.
it ran at 5 frames.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I wanted to have 10 frames, I had to hop into my AT&T Chicken Walker thing and look at the sky.
Yep.
And run in a
That was
direction.
awful.
Yeah. It was bad.
It's not good. Yeah, it was.
So
But yeah,
unfortunately,
man.
I did not get to experience it. However, I did have some fond moments in the game. I didn't really understand shit back then. I came across some dude's fucking cloning operation
Oh
in the
yeah.
middle of fuck all nowhere.
Player housing, baby.
Player
Dude,
housing.
Star Wars-
Yes, the Horatio Psychopath Award.
Yeah.
Galaxies had so many. Listen, Galaxies is one of the first MMOs I know of that had a free class tree. Now
Yeah.
that later got changed and jumped to Lightspeed, and a lot of people hated that shit.
Yeah.
But right, Galaxies is one of the first MMOs I know of where they're like
And
free player housing.
and I do remember
You don't
as
have
well.
a class tree.
I also do remember people telling me who could play Galaxies that the adventure before Lightspeed, you actually had to go on a genuine adventure to become a Jedi.
Oh my god, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, and I get it, and I get the decision to change it too from a business perspective. I understand.
I totally get it.
Yeah. But yeah, player housing back in the day, you could get away with so much shit back in the day because like everything was like 4 fucking polygons. So there wasn't a lot of server load. And they actually didn't they couldn't really distribute patches all that well either. And so they kind of had to just get shit right the first time.
Yeah.
Um,
From the Star Wars Galaxy Wiki, players with aspirations of becoming a Jedi must complete a long series of quests and skill advancements which may take the better part of a year to complete. These quests will take the player from a rudimentary understanding of the Force to a full-featured Jedi Knight with a wide variety of abilities. First, you had to become a Force sensitive, which, by the way,
Become a
Oh,
Force
yes.
sensitive.
whole quest chain in and of itself.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't think people understand just how hardcore this was. Okay. Now, this was not knowledge I had at the time, but I acquired later.
I remember reading about it and that it didn't tell you what to do at any real step of the
Yeah.
way.
No, it never told you shit.
Not only does it not
Early
tell you, okay,
2000s game design.
the class was rare and powerful. You had to spend several weeks or months working to it. The number of Jedi was server limited, and if that character died, that was it. They were dead.
Yeah, that's why the whole cloning operation was a thing.
Oh, permadeath.
Yeah, permadeath.
Now, I want to be clear. That applied to no other class.
Yeah.
Well, class is not the right way to say it, because, again, you didn't have classes. You had archetypes, wherein you could build into things, but you didn't have a set class pre-jump to lightspeed. You didn't. You didn't. You had a whole big ass skill tree, and you put points into the skill tree depending on what you wanted to do.
Yep.
So that's a whole other thing.
What period
But
was Galaxy set in?
it was like somewhere between Empire and
It was pre-Empire as far as no, it wasn't pre-Empire.
No,
was
it was not
post-Empire.
pre-Empire.
Yeah, it was
No,
post-Empire.
No, can't have been post-Empire because Vader showed up.
Right, yeah,
And Palpatine
yeah.
showed up.
And fucking
it couldn't-
killed the entire planet.
No, that was, oh my gosh, that was when they introduced that, like, when they introduced faction leaders just visiting cities, and if you were unlucky enough and you were in the wrong faction city, oh, you had a bad time.
Oh, those were good
I
days.
also remember this was something great because you remember back in the bad old days when you wanted to emote, you would type / and then hope the emote that you were trying to do was /hug /punch / all that dumb crap, right?
Yeah.
You hoped that it wasn't like one of the longer ones.
But I remember dumb little me. I was like, hey, you can use emotes on NPCs and nothing happens. What happens if I do go up and I do /kiss to Darth Vader?
Oh,
And
no.
Darth Vader starts force choking your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man does not want to be reminded of Padme.
No, but that was there was no reason to put that in, but that was amazing.
But I do remember hearing about some of this shit in Star Wars Galaxies, and I'm just gonna use this again because it was completely legitimate. Where they tried to kill Vader or some shit, but everyone was there to see Vader, and so it turned into a giant fucking war, and some spaceships got involved or some shit, and basically.
Nuclear launch detected.
Anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, effectively that. It just got really out of hand, and everyone on the planet died.
Oh yeah, but it was just there was so much stuff that you could do with it. But here, let me finish.
That's the difference though between the older shit and the newer shit. The newer shit's got this giant fucking framework structure about how to have your adventure. The older shit was okay, kid, here's 3 rocks, a bomb, go be a hero or something.
Here's the thing that I have good news for everybody. In something that was amazingly cool of them, Sony Online Entertainment, and I never thought I would utter these words.
Oh God!
Did something really cool
What?
when Star Wars: The Old Republic launched. Because at that time, Galaxies was still going. I don't want to say strong.
It was dying.
But it was. Here's the thing. It was like EverQuest. It had enough people that it was still around.
Yeah, no, they did the whole send off fireworks thing. Yeah.
They did something much cooler than that, Sneaky. They released all the game files and told people, go nuts.
Yeah.
Make your own private servers. But what's really cool about this is, Sneaky, they released all the game files. So you can go back, and there are people who run pre-jump to lightspeed servers.
Yep.
Why?
Honestly, I really do suggest people, find a pre-jump to lightspeed server, give it a try.
I mean, honestly, as well, you might as well also give World of Warcraft Ascension a try as well. Shout out to those boys. Holy shit,
Yes.
they have put in some gargantuan fucking work to declassify WoW. Yes, that's right. They removed classes from WoW. You can now build your hero.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, listen, it's such an interesting thing, and like, Galaxies did so many weird things. Like, the reason people still love Galaxies is because it did so much weird stuff for, right? Classless MMO, player housing, complete player economy. There were
Yeah.
almost no vendors. There
Yeah.
were people who would buy your trash for pennies on the credit.
And then scam newer players.
Oh no! I'm talking about the NPC vendors, right? Who bought your actual right? They
Yeah.
bought your random items in your trash dump, right? And then they would sell some super basic healing stuff and some super basic buff stuff. But like, you wanted to get a speeder bike, bro? You better
build that
buy.
shit.
You better build that, or you're gonna pay someone to build it for you. You want a starship that's not the starter starship? You gotta pay someone to build that for you. Otherwise, you wanted to go around planets. You know what you had to do? You bought a fucking ticket and rode the intergalactic space lines. I'm not kidding. You
It
bought
was
a
some
ticket.
funny shit though. As
There was even an option to. People got so mad that one of the first things they added for the like intergalactic travel was a return ticket button. It was a little tick box, and you could buy return ticket, and you got like 25% off.
That's kind of neat. Honestly.
I remember from the short period of time I played as a courier because I couldn't really do anything else, so I just run from one location to another with a package. The stuff I saw, some of it was some really funny shit. Like, people just had full-on grow labs for drugs in the middle of nowhere.
You were a drug runner.
Yes.
Your racial your racial bonus to that from New Jersey.
By the way, remember player missions. Like, yeah, there were definitely quest lines, and you could do those quest lines, but like,
yeah, players could create quests for other players. It was some wild shit. I mean, Eve is the same way. All the old MMOs were that sort of way, in some form or fashion. Like, there was a lot of choose your own adventure, make your own story. Now, make your own story is just a tagline they slap on a new MMO to try and claim about how you can totally have a cool, awesome adventure, but because it's not the same, right? You know, everyone's on fucking Discord these days. Everyone's on some sort of voice communication platform that is separate. And yes, I know back in the day people had TeamSpeak and blah blah blah. But that wasn't a general use platform. That was I got into this WoW guild, they sent me their TeamSpeak, coordinates, and so now I'm on the TeamSpeak and the IRC. And so then you're able to chat with just your WoW guild. Like, there wasn't, to the average person, using IRC to find an actual genuine server that was not gonna fucking just dumpster you was hard. Finding now everyone and their mother's on Discord, and they're all talking out of the game, and they're not interacting with anyone actually in the game now. You're like, WoW used to be Discord.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not sure if that's depressing or not.
It's not, because it's just how technology worked. Is like, World of Warcraft was reporting Michael Jackson's death before the news was.
Yeah. Because
that's just how people communicated. It was a general form, effectively. And that shit was cool. But now everyone's on their Discord. They're not fucking talking in chat. Because there's too many bots now spamming in chat. First off, even if you took all the bots out, no one's really talking in chat anymore because they're already entering into the game with a guild because a friend who knows a friend who has a guild in that game, and you joined that guild. And there's already all this shit going on. No one's talking in Dota 2 anymore. I remember back in the day, people actually talked in Dota 2 a lot. And that's how I talked to my friends back in the day in Dota 2. Is we either use Steam chat or we use Dota 2 chat. Same thing for Left 4 Dead. We either use Steam chat or Dota 2 or the Left 4 Dead chat to talk to each other just about our day and whoever you were, and you matched with random players and you all had a mic, or at least 3 of you had a mic, and one guy was streaming some fucking radio station with some extreme levels of
and
audio
you were telling him to
fry.
shut the fuck up.
One guy has his mom screaming in the background. Or a dog barking.
2 of them.
It's always one or the other.
If the mom's screaming in the background, she's Mexican. But the games themselves were the communication platform, and so people formed adventures through the games. But now the communication has moved away from the games, and so people are kind of split now between the communication happening on a meta level, and then, they're playing the game, but they're not playing the game because they're not 100% of them isn't in the game. It's sort of in the game. And, multi-screen monitors is now a way more popular thing to do because graphics cards actually support it, and it's way easier to set up, and you don't need to be a fucking power user, and, CRT monitors take up way more fucking space.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have 2 CRT monitors, mind telling me how big your fucking desk is, kiddo?
Right, exactly. And so it's kind of just like you have multiple monitors now, and maybe you have chat in the other window, or you have YouTube in the other window, and you're watching, something in the other window. Most people watch garbage. I watch the news. Sue me.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You watch fucking YouTube news channels
That's
that are like
news.
biased. Okay. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue this point with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not going...
It's not real news because that is biased news. Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no,
I'm sorry,
Mr.
Prophet. Oh, come down off your high
dinner.
horse, sir. Please explain to me a news channel that isn't biased.
No, I amend my statement.
That's why fucking
they're news channels that have limited access to information.
Because
that one
CNN
is
doesn't.
True.
Because
okay.
Fox News always reports the truth.
Sneaky, please tell me to my face that a fucking news outlet is gonna get the same information as a YouTuber in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
I have some bad news for you. I can point to multiple videos where the YouTubers had more accurate information than whatever Fox or CNN was running.
More accurate.
Yes, more accurate.
Yes, after the
More
fact.
accurate
I was
and
talking about like
No,
speed.
I'm talking about like at the same time, some dude goes on Facebook, starts streaming himself shooting up a church. The news that CNN and Fox are saying about who's doing it, why they're doing it, where they're doing it, is less correct than the bumfuck nowhere YouTuber.
I feel like that's a okay. I'm not going to argue this point with you.
Anyway, it all comes down to people are less imaginative, they have less reasons to be imaginative, and the technology has changed. And is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. I mean, Discord's great for connecting with people, don't get me wrong. Same thing with Facebook and, all those other websites that allow you to connect with people and talk with them and form a community. That's great and shit, but the problem is that games have massively suffered because part of the game was requiring you to immerse yourself in it and join the community based on the game, not based on, other characteristics of, oh, I met these people 12 years ago and I guess I'll just keep talking to them because fuck making new friends. Right, Max? Right. Thanks for agreeing with me.
Fuck you, Sneaky.
But so you end up with this newest generation who is not able to form coherent thoughts. They're not able to form coherent sentences. They're not able to have a creative thought in their brain. Everything, and it's not just them personally. It's also, as the poster had pointed out, it's the community that also shuns new shit or weird shit or whatever they deem is weird shit. Let's be honest here. So, you could come out with a cool, creative, original idea as a Zoomer, and you get told by all your friends that your idea is cringe or whatever or mid or whatever the fuck
Disgusting.
they-
No. Nowadays, if it has anything like that makes them uncomfortable,
yeah.
it is disgusting. You're a disgusting person, and you deserve to be canceled.
Of course, right, my bad, of course. Thank you, Resident Zoomer. In fact, actually, you are now going to have your name changed.
Why would you inflict that curse upon you?
Also, can I please just get access to this chat? Because having to ask every time to, oh, someone please pull me up. It gets
Well, my answer to that is, if you can convince Aura to give up his spot, I'll let you.
Good luck with that.
That's mean.
I pay for this treatment.
Yes, you did.
God damn it.
But yeah, so even if they do come out with creative thoughts, their peer group just fucking destroys any sort of creative thought. And so you get this like loop of everything's got to be a copy of something else. But if it's too much of a copy, it's cringe. If it's too little of a copy, it's cringe. And then, but caveat here, apparently the one safe zone, as they're literally calling it, is OCs. It's totally fine to have OCs that are off the wall retarded. I mean,
Oh man. Okay. I have seen people like on Twitter like fucking freak the fuck out because someone did fan art of their OC that was even slightly lewd or slightly inappropriate in any way. Like she's showing like, oh, you can see her paintings here. How dare you do this to my character? I'm going to kill you.
I cannot get over the fact that the progressives sexualized everything so hard in an effort to free us and our culture from patriarchy oppressing sexuality or some shit, right? They sexualized everything so hard in response that the next generation is rebelling by being so fucking Puritan about it. They're approaching Imperium man levels of Puritanism.
Oh, it is 50-50. It is not all. Some of them are like sign worse.
I know. I know. That's why I'm using Imperium of Man, because we got the fucking Chaos Squad out here as well. We got the Slaneshi cultists out here.
Certainly not Slaneshi.
You're sliding that way.
You're
No.
getting there. You're not quite there. They are there. You're not.
Some Zoomer posted their OC in response to a guy going, post your OC, I'll draw my OC, fucking them, and then took it down and said he raped my OC.
Woo!
Oh god, that's funny as fuck. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, for some reason, it's only being applied to, from my experience with my little brother, it's only being applied to everything but the OC. The OC apparently just gets carte blanche to be the most excessive, off the wall, ridiculous. Like that one guy who posted like a 9-page PowerPoint document explaining his original character.
Oh, Jesus, that motherfucker.
Well, I don't think you were
And-
there for that sign.
And not a single aspect of the character was actually original.
Yeah, no, like my little brother sent me an OC document from his
God.
Discord that he was
Oh,
in. No,
God.
not the
How long ago
Ruby
was
guy.
that?
No.
How
Not
long ago was that? Hold on.
At least
hold
a
on.
year. It was before I started working at my current company, so it's been at least a year.
Ancient memories.
Yeah. But yeah, he sent a Discord from the Discord he was in. He sent a document from the OC channel where everyone's OCs was RP'd, and they
Oh, no.
yeah, it was like a whole it was a whole thing. I was like, you don't do that, do you? He's like, no, it's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, it's a little weird.
Just a little bit.
Especially because they had a Connie poster who
Ooh.
only interacted with people who because this was one of those Discords where you selected your age role,
Oh.
and he only interacted with people that selected 12 or under.
That has to be ironic, right?
No.
Yeah, you know what?
And but he sent over this. It was when I say it's a PowerPoint, I literally mean this dude made a PowerPoint.
Sneaky, it's moments like this that makes me hate the way you type. You are unsearchable. I hate it.
Become unsearchable.
You thought that was a mistake on my end?
I'm not saying it's a mistake. I just hate it.
You think I don't do this intentionally? There is no. You cannot pull up my history if you cannot word search it. You can't see me, but I'm T-posing right now. But it was a literal PowerPoint about how cool his character was, and his character used all these different weapons that were blatantly ripped off from other series and other characters, and he also had the ultimate Ruby weapon, the ultimate Mecha Shift Ruby weapon. It was a snowboard. There was also a pair of skis. There were also scimitars, a flamethrower, a battle axe, a sniper rifle,
What the fuck?
a shotgun.
Oh wait, is this the PowerPoint we covered on stream once that your
Yeah.
little brother sent you from someone in the Discord room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm remembering
and
that.
the best part about the flamethrower was the guy was so proud when he wrote this. He was like, the flamethrower blasts a searing hot blast of flame at a massive 300 degrees Celsius.
Bruh.
Sneaky, do you remember if you actually posted the file, or was it just
I don't think I ever posted the file. No.
Fuck. There goes one avenue of looking for this shit.
Yeah, he's like, the flamethrower burns at a roaring 300 Celsius. And we're all just like, it's colder than a fucking candle.
He thought Celsius meant it was hot. He
Yeah.
might have meant, I don't know, Kelvin? Or does that make it colder?
No,
Forget-
it makes it worse.
It makes it actually worse.
Sign
ice to
300 Kelvin is 28 Celsius. So
Yeah.
It's like,
28
How many is
Celsius,
those freedom units?
That's like 70.
70, 70, 80, something like that.
So it's a warm spring breeze.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the funniest shit ever. And I'm talking, it's the most, hold on, I'm pretty sure I can pull this up. Let me search through my messages, because my little brother doesn't message me a lot, and this was a pretty recent.
Wasn't that nearly a year ago?
Yeah. Like I said, he doesn't message me a lot. Like 99% of the messages we send back and forth is literally just, hey, what do you want for dinner? This.
Yeah, that sounds like me and my brother. It's literally like, hey, do you want to eat this tonight? And I'm just like, yeah, sure.
I'm gonna ping tension with this meme again real quick as I'm going through my old phone memes.
Also, another terrible fact that is not helping. Discord updated their search sometime within the
Yeah.
past few months. That shit that just doesn't show up anymore.
They made
Old
it
shit
better.
just doesn't show up. So, and also, Sneaky, you fucking bastard, you somehow misspelled little bro so hard that you cannot find it on the search. Because I know for a fact when you're posting that you refer to him as your little bro, but my brain has translated that. What you wrote was not translated from Sneaky. So, I hate
Yeah,
it.
well, just get good.
Did you post it on the
Oh
the
yes,
podcast channel
I'm also
or
required to repost this. By law, I have to repost that. Oh, is this it? Oh, please tell me this is it.
Did you find the lost treasure once more?
Maybe. Oh, no. This is March 22nd. March 22nd. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, here's the other guy. Oh no, page not found. It's been deleted. No. No, the PowerPoint's been deleted.
Unfortunate.
Rip.
and it has been more than a year.
Oh, he sent that to me Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. I'm also legally required to repost this one. Just for you, Max.
What have you put?
Some excerpts from the PowerPoint
I'm gonna be real. I
recovered
think
by Arn
Nedgy
at the
may
time.
have a slight advantage here.
What makes you say that? He's blind. Also, by the way, my little brother encountered him.
Encountered who?
That is such an ominous statement.
That guy.
Sneaky, hold on. Sneaky, on the YouTube channel, how far behind are the uploads?
Oh.
Like how many weeks?
Ah. Oh,
No. How many weeks per upload, usually?
Yes. You're better off. Okay, so, usually it's at least 2 months behind. So I have no idea. There was this one. So this document still exists. Sign. Feel free to. Oh, yes, I did take pictures of it. Yes, thank you.
What is this?
This is the other OC that I got sent. But yeah, this was
I'm not reading all that shit.
yeah. Yeah, that was a good night. Yeah, it took pictures of that. Yeah, they
No.
used 308 Winchester ammunition. Look at the scythe form of it. Look at
There's
the
pictures.
yeah. If you click on the view the message with the period,
Yeah.
C8 had a period. Click the C attachment. The one that Arn is linked to is the full version for the extra super califragilis 5000 triple X mega combo weapon. Oh,
Three.
the fire comes out and reaches a sweltering 100 C.
Darling.
That's very sweltering.
Yeah. And he uses special heat resistant metal to turn it into a flamethrower, or it just sets his sword on fire
Oh.
instead.
Right. Yeah, I got mad at this point because he was just lifting shit from Guild Gear and Blaze Blue for his stuff.
Yeah. The third part of the weapon is a sniper rifle, which needs no further explanation.
This is so fucking dumb.
I mean, what kind of sniper are we talking here? We talking 50 BMG or what?
No, it needs no further explanation. It's a sniper rifle. You should know what a sniper rifle is, Nose.
Sneaky, when you read the PowerPoint, did you show it on stream?
Yes.
That helps a lot.
That's how we got those pictures. There's no way to reload this. There is no way to reload this gun besides by reloading it.
But what?
Yeah. Also, it uses special magazines because it's part of the case. So he can't even carry around spare ammo for it because he has to hand load every magazine. Also, it fires 308 caseless.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Caseless.
Yeah, 308 caseless. It's a real thing. But
Mm. Mm.
oh god.
Sneaky, why did you open up the Homestuck website? Like this is 5 weeks into 2022 on
Yeah.
stream. Why have you done this?
I wanted to injure people with some age. Oh god. Name Pit Typhon. Height 5'4". Weight 130 pounds. Age 29. Manlet.
Another question: did you start reading this right at the start of the stream?
Oh god, no. Judging by the pictures and where they're placed, I'm thinking it was halfway into the stream because we covered Alvor's trash ass story first.
Fuck. This complicates matters.
Yeah,
How
does
long
it?
was it going on for?
Oh, we went on pretty late that night, didn't we?
Oh, that helps. It was it before or after Elden Ring?
That scythe looks duller than the average Ruby fan.
Okay,
Yes.
When did Elden Ring come out? Hold on.
When did what? Who to what now?
Elden Ring.
Last year before.
Yeah, okay, so February. I am
winter.
the right area of the YouTube channel. I think no, that's the Assassin's Creed Wiki. That is not correct. I will find it shortly.
I'm sure you will.
And was the Toho thing on the same day as the thing from your brother?
Oh yeah, Toho was yeah. Both the Toho and the Ruby fan.
Found it.
Wow. And this is why he is the archivist.
You will somehow, Sneaky.
Yeah.
You had 2 extra streams on the start of 2022. Then there were weeks of the year.
Don't worry about it.
March 1st was the 8th week.
Don't worry
and
about
one
it.
day. So it should have been stream number 17. Why is it stream 19, Sneaky?
Don't worry about it.
Why are there 2 extra days?
Don't worry about it. Look, last year was just 2 weeks longer, okay? It's just that's how the cookie crumbles.
You know what? I kind of had to
It
speak for C8 here. With him being the official archivist,
Yeah.
he really should just get a slot in the voice channel.
See, but you can't just give me a voice channel role because Isley also has the archivist role, and that
Yeah.
will give Isley unlimited.
I can't give
voice chat
him,
access.
yeah. That's
You can't just give me a role called the Brazilian.
I could. However, I don't like copying Arn.
I don't have a role called the Brazilian. I just named myself the Brazilian on the SDM.
I don't know. That comes with requirements such as me completely dictating your nickname.
No, a role is not a nickname.
No. I said requirements.
He's saying that if he agrees to it, he gets to fuck with your name all the time.
Exactly.
Only on your Discord.
Exactly. He's tall and slim. 5'4", 130, tall and slim.
Uh,
I think I'm gonna post some of this stuff just to your Discord sign. Just so
Oh,
I
no.
can inflict pain upon
Fucking-
them.
Fucking hell. Sneaky, this is even worse.
Yeah.
You were gone for like a week or 2 at the start of 2022. How the fuck were there even more streams?
Don't worry. Don't worry about
You
it.
didn't stream for a couple weeks?
Don't worry.
How?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. His skin is smooth and pale, while his eyes are blood red. That changes to a full blood red when he uses his power-ups. His hair is blood red.
Alright, Mr. Saiyan.
Also, I have found another solution. Just remove the archivist role from Isley. They haven't been the archivist for literal years at this point, I think.
You know what? This is a fair point. This is a fair point. He wears
Look
a
at me.
brown cloak
Look
that
at
is
me.
slightly
I
red.
am the archivist now.
He also wears black chains that are also red. He wears armor over his
Jeez, they're
legs.
also red.
Yeah. He also wears armor over his legs that does not cover anything, but covers his waist down to his knee. And under that, he wears dark brown samurai robes.
Also,
I hate it.
Sneaky, how old was the guy that wrote this?
Oh, he's like 18.
Ugh.
Expensive things.
Hold on. He was 18 at the time this was posted, so 1 year ago.
Yeah.
This
It's still up.
motherfucker is my age.
It's still
This
up.
motherfucker
He's
is my
still
age.
role-playing this character. By the
Why?
way,
Literally
the
my
age
age.
listed is 29, so this dude's either 30 or 18.
Why those two extremes?
Because his character's listed age is 29.
Oh,
No,
No
yes,
30-year-old
it's-
lists
And-
their character that as
And
like,
I
anything
know
close
it's
to
not a
30.
fantasy character. It's a you know what I can tell. So This OC is not a peak fantasy character. This OC is a cope character. And I know it's a cope character because you don't imagine yourself at 30 years of age as a 5'4", 130-pound individual.
How short is this man that he thinks 5'4" is tall?
No, that's what I'm saying. This is a cope character. This is you making the character your height and weight and coping by making him super strong and powerful and everyone loves him.
Man.
Woo.
Imagine if you're under the height of 5'5" and you don't consider yourself and make yourself a dwarf. Imagine.
I know, right? You could be a beardly dwarf and get elf bitches.
Look, if you're 5'4", it is your absolute duty to become the most barrel-chested, bearded individual.
Real.
You have to
Real.
shave your head and take the Slayer oath.
Yeah.
I'll
If
be
you
honest.
fail this duty, you must take the Slayer oath.
He isn't here, so I can say this. It's a shame that Arn can't do this.
Oh, because he can't
Because-
grow a beard?
No, because his spine's fucked, so he can't.
Anyone can take the Slayer oath.
He
No,
means
I mean becoming
just-
barrel. I mean becoming
Becoming barrel-chested. Yes, yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
technically ogres can
Fine.
take the fucking Slayer
Is
oath,
his
which is
spine
hilarious
really
to me.
so fucked up he can't do simple chest building exercises?
Yes. Yes.
Power name, the Shadow Forge. The Shadow
Max,
Forge is in our ability that R use its user to forge one or another or themselves weapon of their own shadow. They may use weapon in battle he has most, factoring most of the night or during solar eclipse.
Ow. Also, Max, I'm pretty sure Arn's spine is like an S.
Yeah. He's got like
So, I
super
mean, yeah.
extreme scoliosis or some shit.
Oh, okay. So, like one of the managers at my workplace, whose spine is basically just a compact S, and he swears that he should be 2 inches taller if his spine wasn't so fucked.
I'm sure.
That's just real.
During solar
that's just
eclipse,
fact.
Blade will become maximum power and their attack will be devastating, but along with consequence, using during solar eclipse. During solar eclipse?
Yeah, solar clip. You know, that famous phenomenon.
It's what you use to load solar guns.
It's what you use to load
Fuck
solar
off.
magazines.
Fuck off.
No, solar guns. What are magazines, Sneaky? Those don't exist.
Watch my
Tho-
clips,
those
son.
are paper.
Watch my solar clips, son. Watch my solar clips.
You can load a magazine with a clip depending on the type of magazine. Also, a Durand loads a clip straight in. It doesn't
What
have a
do you
magazine.
mean?
You mean you
Right,
don't load your
sign.
Glock with clips?
Clips are the gun thing.
No,
Magazines are paper. What you're thinking
No.
of is paper clips.
no.
You're clearly wrong.
Paper clips.
Fuck you. God damn it.
But along with consequences for using it during solar eclipse will cost user sanity, which only be taken through solar eclipse in the phase brain.
Sign,
This-
aren't you
this
glad I
sounds
got
like
you to
some
join
fucking-
this server?
Failed novelist dystopian CRPG here slang.
Weaknesses. The user can form their weapon, but they will not be as strong as used at night. The sun take away their power. Only chance he would have at gaining only half their power was if he was fighting in shadow, but the plate would become weaker and weaker the amount time they used in the year the power is depleted. The shadow blade vanish, but before they even disappear, they will begin to fade in and out. Is first warning sign when they about to go away.
You know, if you want to give a power like this a weakness, but you still want it to be useful, you just say, oh yeah, it just manifests as a normal ass dagger. That's its weakness. It's just a normal piece of metal that's sharpened. Not this nonsense
Not this nonsense where you need to have like a video game system of a sliding scale percentage based damage.
Yeah, no, it's like at night, 100% power. During the day, crappy little dagger.
I mean, if you really wanted to balance that sort of thing where at nighttime you can forge as much shit as you want out of shadow, then during the daytime you can forge as much shit as you want out of the shadow, but you literally only have the shadows around you to use instead of the whole night darkness thing.
Like, it's two ways to balance it right there. That's immediately better than
So like your shadow
whatever
being cast in
small
full
part.
can only turn into like a dagger or some shit, and then like the shadow of an old tree can turn into like a shield. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not hard to balance. That's the worst part about all these characters. It's like it's not hard to balance your power. You're just fucking stupid.
Well, that and they don't want to introduce a weakness.
That's actually a weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weaknesses.
Private weakness.
I have a -2 to my charisma score. Okay,
Oh
so-
wait, I got a joke that only people who are employed will get. This
Mhm.
dude is listing weaknesses like when your boss asks you during an interview, "What's your worst trait?" I work too hard.
Real.
Look, you get desperate.
You know, maybe
I
you get
actually-
desperate, or you could
In
Could
South
be.
Dakota, I actually got hired for a part-time job. I didn't take it because it was only part-time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I need a full-time job if I'm going to be moving." They're totally understanding. But I got hired for a part-time job because when I got asked, "What is your biggest weakness?" my response was like, "I don't really get along great with people sometimes." And they're like, "Oh, you're like the first person to actually give us a genuine weakness. Do you want a job?" I was like, part-time, sorry, no. But, thanks. Yeah.
They'll probably remember you for some time to come too, as being someone who was actually honest in that interview.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one job I interviewed for the local college for IT, where they were like, "Well, how many quarters do you?" Because it's all these thought exercises where you're supposed to like show how you would get to the process of the answer, and like the
Did you
question
eat
was how.
breakfast today?
No, it's like how many quarters do you think it would take to equal the height of the Empire State Building?
That's a Google interview question.
Yeah, I know.
Is it?
It's like 13,000 or some shit. 52,000 or some shit. I don't know. I forget.
Are they on edge or are they flat?
See, that's what I fucking asked, right? I said, are we talking about like heads, tails, flat side? Or are we like talking about like stacked on the edges of the quarter? And the interviewer looked at me and goes, I don't know. I've never been asked that.
You asked
Wasn't
the
expecting to get
I've
that far.
I've never been asked that before. I'm just like,
You just Monty Pythoned him, and he didn't know how to respond.
yeah.
Fuck, this reminds me of that one joke. The programmer creates a bar. You can ask for positive drinks, negative drinks, infinite drinks, imaginary drinks. Someone goes in. Where's the bathroom? The program breaks.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah. Effectively. And I ended up doing that to a couple of their other questions, and I don't remember those questions though, because I just remember their face when they asked the quarter question. And then I just confidently stated, they're like, I don't know, on their sides then. I just confidently stated a number. I was like, I don't know, 5,000, I guess. Hey.
Confidently stated.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't
oh,
know,
fuck it,
whatever, I
5,000
guess.
something, I don't know.
I would actually look up the height of the Empire State Building and the width of a quarter and give you an exact number.
No, I'm not gonna fucking do that. It doesn't fucking matter. If you want me to do that sort of shit, ask me a question that matters.
To be fair,
Yeah,
that
that's
question
fair.
has no bearing on IT work at all.
Exactly, yeah.
I've never been asked that. The question I always get asked is,
Hey, look, I will
what's your greatest
confidently lie to your
weakness?
face if that's what you want.
Yeah. What is your greatest weakness?
Oh, yeah.
I care too much. I try too hard.
Nah, see, you just gotta be honest with that shit, you know? Fuck that shit.
No, man,
I have no
I hate
weaknesses.
I hate Google interview questions for IT work. It's like, how do you keep up with the industry? It's like, I work in the industry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
keep up by having it thrown in my face. How do you think I keep up with it?
yeah,
Do you not
right.
do any research off work? No. Why would I make my work my hobby?
Yeah, but likes. Messing with extremely dangerous people, go out on midnight stroll sometime. I drink. This is why I think he's like 18 and coping.
No one under the age, no one over the age of like 21. I'm sorry, 23.
Yeah, 23.
Ever
Yeah.
fantasizes about drinking. They're just like 21 is just like yeah, I'm
I'm gonna
drinking.
go
I'm
out of the
hard.
club and drink, bro. 23, you're like, yeah, I'm drinking. Fuck them days.
39. Yeah, no, I don't drink. I don't fucking
Fuck
drink
them
anymore.
days.
At all.
Yeah, well, see,
I can't think like that anymore.
that's sort of like the arc, you know? Like, it's like 21, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit the clubs. 23, you're like, fuck them days, I'm just gonna drink. And then you get like the 30-ish area, and you're like, I should probably stop drinking, I'm getting fat. To like 50, and you're like, fuck this shit, I'm drinking again. So, you know, in another 10 years, sign, you'll be saying, fuck this shit, I'm drinking again.
No,
11 years till that point.
I don't drink, and I never will, never have.
Well, you haven't worked for the government then.
No,
Yeah, that would explain it.
That explains.
I've only subcontracted for the government.
Yeah, I worked for the government. That was oof. Oof. Dislikes his opponents not taking him seriously when he is called monster by the humans. Being patient, being in the sunlight, waiting inside when it rains.
Also, Sneaky, this is the only OC you reviewed on episode 19, so I think this is just the one.
Oh no, these are two separate characters. The ones that from the picture and this one on the Word document, these are two separate characters.
Scroll down because I'm pretty sure I saw those exact pictures on this doc.
No, that was from the
Hold on,
PowerPoint.
hold on. Okay. Okay. Shit. So the time you spent talking about the actual your little brother's OC was very short because I did a quick like scroll through like via 5-second intervals, and I didn't see the OC you're talking about. Your little brother talked about rather.
Personality. He can be bit of jokester from time to time, but is real loyal friend to have. He's adventurous and tends to be handful of trouble when he's bored, but he keeps himself busy with books he borrows from the library. That's right. This is a personality. This is a personality, apparently. I'm being personally attacked is what's going on.
Oh no, fine. You're just stupid. It was after the Toho thing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll post it. Time stamped.
He's friendly with those he
PowerPoint.
meets for the first time, but he isn't the kind of guy to take a joke as in combat. He's always willing to risk his life for the defenseless. But other than all of that, the best way to describe him is loyal, adventurous, friendly, heroic, playful, and caring.
Wow. Okay.
I think the best part is what follows immediately after that.
Humble.
No. Relationships, none.
Self-reporting.
It's bolded and caps locked.
Oh, that means he doesn't want any relationships.
This is what I'm telling. This is why it's a cope fic or cope OC. This is what I'm talking about here. This is a cope OC.
Inherently contradicting. Amazing.
Oh yeah, he also goes to Toho. Yeah.
You don't say when the name of the fucking document is Soho Pit.
Oh well, I just fucking ignored that shit.
You ignore a lot of shit, so you should be really expecting that at this point.
Yes, this
Man,
Star
hey, this guy goes
Wars
to Toho.
Star Wars Darth Typhon. Wow, this is Star Wars OC? Damn.
Sins. You. Okay. He writes down all the spell cards he has not yet mastered. Okay. Oh, he even has voice
Hold on.
claims. This dude legitimately wrote down who he wants to he wants to VA his character in English and Japanese dubs.
Sneaky, he had the potential to do something very funny there. He writes down all the spell cards he hasn't mastered. There are none written.
That's true. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, and then he just rips off a bunch of concept art from a bunch of other.
Were those Kensho and Bakuya? Hold on.
Yeah. Some of them were. Some of them are like what's his face sword, Ragna's sword, and yeah.
Is that thing called the Revenge of the Fallen? Hold on. Isn't that a fucking Transformers movie?
A Devil May Cry. Oh. Good old classics. Anyway, so gents, it's 10 o'clock now. I hope we all had fun tonight. Remembering old memories and learning why shit will always get worse. So, to buckle up, boyos, because it's only going downhill from here. Get ready to have every property you've ever known, ever loved, ever enjoyed, even the newer shit, eventually ruined by people who are completely incapable of thinking more creatively than a brown paper bag. So, tune in on Friday because there's always more, and it always gets worse.